Hi, I'm Kaustubh Khade. I'm a two-time Limca record holder for the longest kayaking by an Indian. I also have 2 silver medals and 1 bronze at the Asian Championship. I do kayaking and canoeing mainly. So kayaking comes from the word kayak. A kayak is a slender boat that is propelled in the water by a paddle that you pull on both sides. That's the only differentiator from between a kayak and a canoe. A canoe is where you're only pulling on one side. A kayak is where you're pulling on both sides. Kayaking is not a very complex sport. The equipment is not that hard to get by. The only thing you need to get right is technique. You can either take that up with YouTube or go to a seasoned professional and get the basics right. I've been kayaking since about 2010. The first time we went kayaking was a fairly funny incident because it was me and my best friend, and we were in Palole where we could rent out these double kayaks which are sit on top plastic bodies. We took them out about 2-3 kilometers into the sea just to chase some dolphins. Around us, the waves were breaking on rock, and Sarang doesn't know how to swim. So he's freaking out in the back, and we're just bobbing up and down fairly far away from any rescue. Nobody knew where we were. And we were just being hit by the waves. The wind was coming at us. Sarang was panicking, and I was loving it. It was just one of the best escapes from real life you could do, and that's been kind of what's held true, and we fell in love with the sport. If you ask me if it's dangerous, one of the worst incidents we had was when I had taken a kayak out with my wife and another kayaking friend of ours, and we kayaked from Bombay to Elephanta early in the morning. There was high tide, so we got there pretty fast. But on the way back, what we didn't account for was a low tide. So suddenly, on the way back, when we were trying to cross back to Bombay, we just could not keep up with the tide. I managed to make it back to shore, but my wife and my friend could not, and we actually had to motor down with a boat, pick these guys up from the middle of the channel where they were completely floundering. And what should have been a 2-hour casual kayak ride was a 5-hour session where all of us were worried about each other's lives. And I distinctly remember this one time where I was kayaking just outside the governor's bungalow, and this police vessel came to me, and then I go through the motions to tell them that, okay, I'm training for the Asians, and this guy was really nice, and he's like, all of that is great, and I'm really glad that you're doing this for the country, but that guy up there has a shoot on sight order. And I turned to see this hunky guy with his arms folded, and if you kayak around these paths again, he's going to try that. And so you have all these crazy stories and run-ins that are just that you wouldn't get anywhere else, I feel. So I think that's an immense future for kayaking in India. It's not just the mainland. We've got multiple rivers and lakes. I see that in a lot of even the metros, people are getting out of the simplistic mold of just getting on a pair of sneakers and just going jogging. They want to immerse themselves in new experiences. They want to take on new adventure. And I think there's no bigger frontier than the sea. So I feel that with our population and the availability of water to all of us in one form or the other, I see this being really big.